This is a question that we've all been faced with. We're at the grocery store and you look at two products and you think, do I need the organic? Do I not? Do I pay for it? I mean, we hear it's supposed to be better for our health, but I think it's also a lot more expensive. And that's already top of mind with incredibly high food prices in this country. So today, Nishta Saxena, who's a registered dietitian, is here to break down what's actually worth buying organic. It's great to have you in studio.
Great to be here.
Okay, so when we see food that's labeled organic at the grocery store, what does that even actually mean?
Yeah, it's very confusing. And in Canada, we have, laws for certification here. Organic really doesn't refer to the nutritional quality of a food. It refers to the entire process of producing that food. So it refers to all the systems, farming systems, soil regeneration, pollution. It does refer to pesticide use as well, but it isn't just about the nutritional quality of a food. And I think there's a big misconception that organic food production doesn't use pesticides. That's not actually true. There are pesticides used, but they're different pesticides, non-synthetic. And ultimately, organic really refers to how the food is produced versus what is inside the food.
Okay, so I feel like I still don't understand if it's good for us or not. And, and I know there's a higher cost that's associated with it.
Yeah.
So eggs, for example. This is when you go to the grocery store, you see like there is a pack of 30 eggs, that's $9. And then there's a pack of 12 eggs that's organic, that's also $9. So which one do I buy?
It's a great question. And I want you to think about, and everyone to think about, what is your goal with trying to purchase organic food? Because it doesn't specifically mean one thing, you have to think about that before you make that purchase. So as an example, in Canada, we don't add growth hormone to meat, milk, eggs, and dairy products here. So if your goal was to eliminate that or avoid that, you really don't need to purchase the organic eggs. In another situation, if you were a person who really wanted to support a specific sustainable farming process, then maybe you would choose those organic eggs. But with the cost of food almost 30% higher than it was 6 years ago, that can be a really difficult choice to make at the till.
It really can, especially when you're just buying eggs. If your goal is to just get eggs into your kids or eggs into yourself, you really have to ask that question.
Yes.
So we've all been told that buying organic is better for our health. You see this on every TikTok feed and reel where people are spouting off about buying organic. Is this true?
You know what? No. The answer is no. It is not true that if you consume more organic food over time that you have less disease or live longer. There have been studies that have broken this down and tried to look at this. However, there are so many factors that influence our health, much beyond nutrition, much beyond what we're eating. So we really can't boil things down to whether or not somebody consumes organic food because there's so many factors that impact our health. But the short answer is organic doesn't always mean a food has more nutrition in it when you compare non-organic. Things vary so drastically, product by product and item by item.
So let's talk about the farming side of this, because some farmers in Canada say their produce meets the standards to be organic, but they still aren't able to get actual certification. So how does this affect the everyday person shopping at the grocery store?
Yeah, it's very confusing. In fact, if you ever noticed, a lot of the organic produce we buy here in Canada is from the US. And this is partly the reason, because farmers are required to go through so many different processes. They're already working so hard to produce food for us and for the world. And so as an example, converting to an organic crop can take up to 3 years. During that period of time, the yields are lower and there's very little profit margin in food production. And so this can just be, it's cost prohibitive. An interesting thing that I learned in researching this is actually the way the food is shipped. It has to be in separate trucks. There have to be separate shelving and packaging all done to keep the food separate, which adds again to the cost from the farmer, which then translates to the cost to the consumer. So you really have to think about, again, what's your goal with purchasing organic? Many of the farmers in Ontario are making food that is non-GMO. As I mentioned, we don't use growth hormone here. We do use different pesticides. They may use different pesticides as well. So you really have to think about how are you spending your money? What is the purpose of you spending your money? And could you support local farmers who are doing a lot of the same things as organic produce, but they can't get that certification because of the costs incurred by them?
Okay, so real quick, if you are worried about pesticide residue, what food should you be buying organic?
So great question. Things with very thick peels, like bananas, avocados, I wouldn't worry about those. Some things such as apples, spinach, some strawberries, some of those are very, very highly densely sprayed with pesticides, and they're difficult to clean. Other things like stone fruits, some of the cherries, apricots, nectarines, peaches, those can also be highly sprayed with pesticides. So if that's a concern for you, you want to lower those levels. Example, pregnant women, babies, young children, that may be a choice that you want to make.
Okay, that's an easy way to choose where you can spend your dollars. Nishta, thank you.
You're welcome.
Coming up. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.